My name is Emily Hanako Momohara, and I am an artist, an activist, and a professor at the Art Academy of Cincinnati. In the fall, I will have a body of work called Mother Tongue at the Weston Art Gallery as part of Memory Fields, curated by Sso-Rha Kang. It is about language and about how language changes over the generations. It can be this really tight connector to who we are culturally, but it also can give us many opportunities for misunderstandings. And then I have another project that I'm working on that I don't have a title for, but it is going to be at Wright State University for Photo Focus. And I am photographing AAPI, which is Asian American Pacific Islander women and non-binary folks, to really talk about this idea of forever foreigner, that so many people look at Asian Americans and assume that we just got here, right? In the Japanese American community, we would call me a fourth generation, a yonsei, which means that my great-grandparents had come from Japan to the United States. So we're talking about over 100 years of Momoharas in the United States, which is the antithesis, I think, of what people think about with the Asian communities. So I really wanted to just focus on these amazing women that we have here that are part of the fabric of U.S. culture. I wanted to highlight them and highlight this misconceived vulnerability or passivity that the community had. So that body of work is in process as well, and the imagery behind me is some work that's part of it. Whenever I give a talk about my work, I always start out with this one picture that I drew in first grade. This picture is a portrait of myself and my mom. My mother is Caucasian and my father is Japanese American. I drew her, and her skin is the white of the paper, and my skin is yellow with the crayon. And I understood it even if I didn't understand all the implications. So I guess my work has always been about identity, because when I was growing up, there wasn't a lot that talked about either immigrant culture or mixed race culture. And so I really felt the need to take that on as an artist. My grandmother, who was incarcerated for being Japanese American when she was in high school, she was an artist. And growing up, she was always doing bonsai or other kinds of art forms. So it was always a part of my life. I think as coming into it as an adult, I realized the power of art and how we can really talk to folks and share our experiences on a more visceral level than we can with our words. And we can touch people's hearts and minds and create conversations by making art. And so that, to me, is like the most exciting part about just being an artist. The most impactful experience that I had was I was at the University of Washington, and I was doing a paper on an artist, Roger Shimamura. His family was incarcerated during World War II at the same camp that my family was incarcerated at, and he just made work about it, which was kind of shocking to me. I had always felt like I needed to be a little reserved in talking about publicly the things that my family had to go through. Just the idea of seeing somebody choosing to make work that's really difficult about the Japanese American experience and that was successful, and making it, and it just made me really realize that, I can do that too. Those experiences were very few and far between, though. I could probably count on one hand how many artists I had found that I resonated with in that way when I was coming up as a younger person. So I do think that representation means so much, that we can see ourselves in the communities that we live in. Ohio is actually a lot more diverse than people think. So it's really important that young people get to see themselves when they're learning about our country, or whether they're learning about through art or the sciences or whatever someone is teaching them. So I think representation is extremely important to the development as someone grows up. Art is a reflection of who we are, right? It allows us to evaluate ourselves. It allows us to celebrate ourselves. It allows us to learn about each other. One thing that I tell my students The beginning of every class is that I am neurodivergent. When I was in high school, I flew out of a car, I hit my head really hard, and I have dead brain tissue in my right frontal lobe, and I have a terrible memory. My family will tell you that is true. I did not believe that I would be able to go on and get a graduate degree when I first started my journey as a young artist and student. And one thing that I hold very close is that the doctors can tell you physically what's going on with your body, but there is no way of them knowing the perseverance that you have. And if you are an artist and if you want to make things and you are dedicating your life to that, there's really nothing that can stand in your way. I just would like to encourage people, regardless of whether they come from a non-mainstream background, whether it's race or gender or sexuality or neurodivergency or anything that might come across, that honestly you do not have to be part of that mainstream culture, and you should have lots of confidence in yourself and you can do it.